Hello and welcome to another English composition video. It's a gorgeous day here in the valley, so this video is going to take place outside. You might hear my little pet birds chirping in the background. Hopefully they don't distract you too much. Let's get right into the video. I want to be sure you know how to see feedback on major papers you submit to me in our class, because every writer has room to get better, myself included. That's one of the things that makes writing an art form. It's very difficult to get it to perfect, right? That's why people like Stephen King get paid lots and lots of money when they're good at it. So one of my important jobs as your instructor is to provide you feedback so that you can get better and better with each successive paper this semester, so that hopefully by the end you feel confident about your writing and you can use it to help you reach your academic goals. So keep in mind, anytime you're looking at this video, it doesn't matter if the name of the paper is different in the class that you're in. What's important is that you understand how to see my feedback on the paper. So the first thing that you'll notice is this little 1 here under grades, which is there to alert you that something has been graded. I'm in the sample student view, so this is very similar to what it should look like for you. So let's all ignore all the things that say missing, right? Because our sample student didn't do everything. So as you can see, the sample student submitted the rhetorical analysis paper. That's where the blue dot is. And we want to see the comment on there. Now, one way to see a comment is to click the little bubble there. And then you can see that. But there's lots more comments on there than just that. I don't want you to just look at that, and I certainly don't want you to just look at the grade. To get better, you want to look at what are you doing well and what do you need to improve. And to think about that, you have to be able to see my notes directly on the paper. So click on the name of the assignment. Remember, even if the assignment you're looking at has a different name, if it's a different paper down the road, the steps to get to the feedback are the same. So you click on the paper. Let me move my face here. And then you can see this is where I type general comments about the paper. What are the main things that are going well and some of the biggest things that need attention. And then I always type at the end, be sure to click View Feedback so you can see more notes. There's View Feedback. This is important. So let's click this and see what happens. As you can see your actual paper in there with some notes on it. And then you think, well, Sanger, that's really tiny. I can't see that. You're right. Click this double-headed arrow to make it full screen. Isn't that so much better? And you can also adjust the zoom up here with the plus and minus. You can make it bigger. And so now you can see my comments. You see your paper here and my comments on it. This is the sample paper, or one of the sample papers. So as you can see, usually I will use the yellow highlighter for grammatical issues. If they're really obvious errors that you'll catch when you look at it a second time, I won't explain them. A lot of times if it's an error that requires some explanation, I'll use a blue balloon instead. That said, if you make the same error multiple times, I'm not going to explain it each time. Like if you're mistakenly using a comma instead of a period and creating run-on sentences, I'll explain it to you like probably the first or maybe the second time you do it. But then after that, I'll just mark them. Papers that have a plethora of grammatical errors, I don't mark them all, because then it just gets to be very difficult for you to see other content-related feedback on the paper. Although I do continue taking points off even if they're not marked. So yeah, it's almost always going to be either a yellow highlighter or a blue balloon. I usually often also use the blue balloons to give you feedback on content. Like I'll say, oh, you did a great job on explaining this certain thing on the introduction, or oh, you did a great job on the works cited page. It's almost perfect. You just forgot to put the containers in italics. That kind of thing. Or I might say, okay, well, you did try to provide an analysis of this section, but one of the questions you forgot to answer is this. And then I'll just type the question in there. So anyway, it's sort of like me having a conversation with you about the content of the paper so that you can understand the grade. Back in this view, you just click the double-headed arrow to get back out of it. You can see the rubric. The rubric shows you where points are won and lost, essentially, due to the different criteria, right? So you can see there's lots of points attributed to the citation in this particular assignment. So that's the rubric. And then, of course, the grade, right? If you ever have a question about feedback that you receive from me, you're welcome to message me about it or stop by virtual student support hours. I think sometimes, especially with grammar, sometimes students need to stop by for some additional explanations so that they can kind of learn how to avoid replicating those same issues in future papers. Because, again, that's sort of the point of one of the many points of this is not just to help you grow overall as a writer, but to help you do better on the next paper. That's why feedback is so important. If you're learning to throw a football as a quarterback, you want some feedback on how you're doing to make sure you've got it right before the big game. So that's about all I've got. That's how you see feedback on major papers in Canvas. You've already seen that when I do discussion boards, it's generally just a comment in the rubric. I don't make notes directly on it like I do with the papers. Again, if you ever have questions, message me in Canvas or stop by virtual student support hours. Take care, and I'll see you next time.